Introducing the all-new Corolla.
It's like I'm fighting this for the AG instead of them fighting for me.
Geraldine Castillo is a victim of drunk driving and is calling on the AG's office to change its practices after she says she was mistreated by Assistant Attorney General Charles Knoonen, who was assigned to her case. The accident happened on August 30th last year. The alleged drunk driver, Michelle Rode, was arrested and eventually charged with DUI, reckless driving, and DUI with injuries as a third-degree felony. But it was after Rode appeared in court that the case for Castillo began to spiral out of control. Castillo met with Knoonen a few days after Rode was released on $7,000 personal bond. She was then told that Rode's charges would be reduced to a misdemeanor.
And I asked what happened to the felony that she originally was charged with in the magistrate. And he said, he implied that my injuries weren't that serious to be a felony. And so we kind of went at it. We were arguing, and then he began to yell at me, and I was even in tears. I was shaking, and the investigator was there. She was present, and he said it's not like you lost an eyeball, or you were hospitalized, or you lost a leg.
Although her injuries were not serious, burn marks and minor bruising, Castillo says she continues to suffer from PTSD.
An injury is an injury. You can't picture trauma, but that's an injury to me, and I have to live with that every day.
And until now, you still live with that trauma.
I do. It's so hard to drive.
Castillo eventually went before a grand jury to explain her injuries, and the grand jury agreed, indicting Rode with felony DUI with injuries. But even after she insisted on felony charges, and even after a grand jury indictment, Castillo says that Knoonen continued to press for a plea deal with only misdemeanor charges.
I started shaking, and I was upset, and I teared, and it's like, what does it take for, an injury is an injury. Did I have to die to, for them to take this seriously?
And I've confirmed that did happen, and I apologize, and I have apologized to her personally by phone.
Chief Prosecutor Basil O'Malley immediately called for a press conference after Castillo submitted her letter this morning. In light of Castillo's complaint, O'Malley says some changes have been made to correct those mistakes.
The case has since been reassigned to another prosecutor. One of the things that was raised was the plea offer that had been extended. Based on the victim's complaint, we've decided to withdraw that plea offer. We've revoked it, and we are going to reevaluate the case and decide on how to best resolve the case.
Knoonen also publicly apologized to Castillo.
She's a victim, and she deserves to be treated like a victim.
And so are you basically accepting responsibility for your actions on that day?
Yes.
Although not an excuse for the way Castillo's case was handled, O'Malley says his office is inundated with DUI cases.
For DUIs alone, we have 1,097 cases filed open since January of 2012. Those cases have to be resolved. We have the court pushing us to resolve these cases in less than a year. And so a lot of times and I only have 2 attorneys who are assigned to DUI cases.
Sure, it may come off as a petty case because DUIs are a dime a dozen. It happens all the time. They probably have like hundreds of DUIs. Mm-hmm. But it has to stop. And what does it take? Does it have to take death for them to really go after the offender?